Owen sent a super chat. It's Yandover.
It's so Yandover, guys. I was never a fan, but I was following the development. The idea had potential. Just a anime trope game, making fun of dating sims and bad high school anime. That sounded like a great idea. I would peek in at the game. I watched Markiplier play it. I watched Cub Scouts play it. First, I was like, oh, this is so clever. Look at all these funny pun names that all sound like a 15-year-old American making their own anime. Isn't that so funny and clever? And then I slowly realized he was serious and thought he was actually writing a legit good story. So this dude had the opportunity of a lifetime. He was getting money hand over fist to develop this game. But as it went on, it became clear he was not a very talented programmer, and he was a bit of a control freak.
The QA signboard sent a super chat. I'm ashamed to admit that was so desperate for closure via the game releasing that I followed the development into the grooming fiasco.
I don't blame you for that, but yeah, Yandev ultimately got caught talking to a teenage girl in a sexual manner and saying things like he feels like he missed out on his high school experience because it wasn't like his Japanese animes. And yeah, it's really bad. But we're not going to get into that today. We're going to get into the early days and what I see as like the first major red flags that this project was never going to come to fruition. Alright, so it was to me the first big red flag in Yandere Simulator's development, the emails video.
I'm sorry. I don't have any new gameplay features to show you today. You deserve to know the reason why. In order to tell you, I need to explain something first. I receive an extremely high volume of emails every day. Most of these emails are essential for the development of the game.
He's complaining that he gets emails. And we're gonna watch him systematically reject every single possible solution he could have to this fucking problem. This was where I went, oh no. Oh, he's gonna screw this up.
I usually spend around 6 hours a day corresponding with volunteers to get the assets I need.
6 hours a day! Bro!
However, not every email that I receive is helpful.
Ignore those emails. Just ignore them. This is the problem. He was like compelled to answer every single email and was getting mad at other people for sending him emails when this was something he did to himself. I know if you're kind of autistic, it's hard not to do those sorts of things, but you gotta be sensible here, man.
I receive a lot of emails from people who want to request or suggest features that I have no interest in including in the game. I want to be a game developer who interacts with his audience.
That was your first mistake, and your audience was mostly teenagers, and that was really bad, actually.
Developer who just ignores people that took the time to write me an email. So, I've been reading and responding to every single email that I get.
You can't even optimize reading and responding to emails! How do we expect him to optimize a game? There's too many emails in my inbox, and I can't physically read them all. You don't have to, bro. There's ways you could... you fix this, you know?
Answering all of the other emails that I get can take up to 2 hours a day. It was very difficult to get any work done over the past 2 weeks. 2 days were spent at Anime Expo, and 2 days were spent traveling in and out of Los Angeles. 9 days were spent answering emails, leaving me with...
You spent more days answering emails than you spent in fucking LA? You need better, like, I have bad time management skills, but holy shit, bro. If you're worried about working on the game, why are you taking a day out of your time to make a fucking YouTube video about how you're not working on the game? Do you see how counterproductive this is, Alex?
That's the reason I'm afraid to ever start deving.
Don't be afraid. If you're not a fuck-up like Yandere Dev, then you'll be fine. Just don't be a fuck-up.
On July 2nd, I added a new page to the blog with clear instructions on how to volunteer for Yandere Simulator. The result was an avalanche of emails.
Yeah, you got the expected result of your actions.
It took me 9 days to finish replying to them all. I had 0 time to write code for the game. The reason why there is no update this week is because of Anime Expo and because of the avalanche of new volunteers happening at the same time.
You asked for them at the same time you went to the fucking con, bro. Again, this is all his own fault.
I'm going to change the way that I handle emails. My plan...
Yandere Dev! Why don't you just hire a secretary to filter your emails and answer questions for you?
So he had this character, Midori Gurin, which just means green, who he would have as a stand-in for his annoying audience asking him questions. Yeah, it's Midori, which means green, and then Gurin, which is just an English pronunciation of green. So, yeah. And then he would stab this girl in the head in some of his videos, so that's what he thinks of you. So here we go, he's about to just, like, shoot down every sensible idea. First idea, get a secretary. Get someone to sort through the emails for you and give you the relevant information. Yeah, wow, that could work, especially when you're getting money on Patreon and can pay somebody. But here's what he's gonna say about it.
Well, first of all, thanks for the suggestion, but actually, I have some problems with that idea. I don't want to hire a secretary to help me with email because I don't want to babysit a secretary for several weeks until they have enough experience to do their job without supervision.
So this is what a control freak he is. He's like, no, but I have to answer all these emails, and I have to make sure if somebody does it for me that they're going to do it the exact same schizophrenic way I do.
I don't want to risk the secretary responding to questions incorrectly and spreading misinformation.
Okay, so then you just have a list of answers to specific kinds of questions.
I don't want to risk the secretary filtering my emails incorrectly and failing to send me important emails.
So yeah, again, everything you would train a person to do, he's just like, but no, they'll probably screw it up though. Because, dude, I think you have an anxiety disorder, an OCD or something.
I don't want to risk the secretary being lazy and going through emails so slowly that I'm better off doing it myself.
Well, we've already made it clear you're not better off doing it yourself. And it takes you 9 fucking days to answer emails. So I'm going to assume someone who is, like, skilled in administration would be faster than you, yes.
I don't want to risk the secretary seeing spoilers or other confidential information and then talking about it on social media.
He says he doesn't want to risk leaks, but every single time he did a gameplay update, he would release a video showing you step by step how to do every single little thing in the update. So what do you mean you're worried about leaks? You immediately tell everybody exactly how to do everything when you update it. You're fucking stupid.
My solution to the email problem is...
Yandere Dev! Why don't you just have 2 separate email accounts?
Another sensible suggestion, why don't you just have a separate email address just for your volunteers? You know, that only they know to send you assets. And what's he gonna say to that?
One for volunteers and one for everything else.
What? No, that wouldn't help at all.
Having an email address just for your volunteers means you get all your most important emails right there on that account, and you don't have to go through the other ones. You can have a secretary for everything else, for the fan mail and shit.
I would also lose time when switching back and forth between them. And of course, there are always going to be people who send emails to the wrong account.
He was just shooting himself in the foot here. Like, no, I have to be in complete control of everything. I can't trust anyone else to do this, even though I'm incompetent at it.
So, no, that's not a good idea. So, anyway...
Yandere Dev! Why don't you make a forum where volunteers can post their progress and collaborate?
Okay, I guess I can see how you think that would be a good idea, but honestly, that would just be another place that I have to manage and administrate.
And again, if it was only the volunteers and nobody else, you probably wouldn't really have to babysit them that much.
Unfortunately, I don't have the ability to upload videos that are longer than 15 minutes, and it will take me longer than that to finish talking about the problems that have been slowing down my progress. So I'm going to have to break this video into 2 parts.
Everything is slowing down progress, so I'm taking the time to make 2 videos to complain about the progress being slowed down instead of just working on the fucking game.
I'll explain what disqualifies someone from being a volunteer.
Hopefully what disqualifies them would be being under 18, but I don't think that happened.
To view Part 2, click the annotation that is displaying on your screen right now.
RIP annotations on YouTube, I guess. Alright, now for Part 2 of the email video.
In this video, I'm going to explain what kind of emails I will no longer reply to.
Oh my god, he's at least not gonna reply to some of them.
To explain when you should email me and when you should not email me.
But this is again the lolcow gene. He thinks if I just put out this video, every single one of my fans will hear this and internalize it and obey me like a hive mind. Like, you can't just assume all of your fans have seen every single thing you've ever put out.
If you report a bug that I already know about, I'm not going to respond to you. If you can't get the game to run and there's nothing I can do about it, I'm not going to respond to you.
You could have been doing that all along though, dude.
Okay, so how would we know we're reporting a bug he already knows about in the first place?
Oh, you see, he has a list on his website of bugs he already knows about, and you should be aware of that. You should be reading everything he's ever written if you want to be his fan, obviously.
99% of the time I hear somebody suggest a feature for the game, their idea has already been suggested before, does not fit into the game's design, is already a planned feature of the game, is far beyond the scope of a one-man indie game with no budget, or it's simply dumb.
Hear that, kids listening to me? Your ideas are dumb.
The QA signboard sent a super chat, 1.5 speed, and I'll donate $10.
Okay.
Sorry, I hate to say it, I know it sounds mean, but it's dumb. Please only email me under the following circumstances. You are reporting a bug. You are making a business inquiry or proposal. You are a talented...
I thought people aren't supposed to report bugs to you, though, because you have a list of the bugs you already know about, and if they report a bug you already know about, that's bad and wastes your time and you can't develop the game anymore.
2D artist, 3D artist, 3D animator, or Unity engineer who wants to volunteer. Or you made some fan art. Or you made some cosplay. I like cosplay. That's fine. You can send me that. It's cool.
I like cosplay. Do you hear that, female teenage fans? I like cosplay. Show me that. Email me your cosplay. I like that. Ugh. God, in hindsight, that's really creepy.
Don't volunteer if you're still in elementary school.
Junior high is fine, but not elementary school. That's just too far.
Don't volunteer if you openly admit that you have no skills whatsoever. Don't volunteer if you can't handle the idea that your work may eventually be replaced. Don't volunteer if you have less than a year's worth of experience doing whatever you're volunteering to do.
Beggars can't be choosers, dude! You're having these people do work for you for free!
Don't volunteer if you can't handle your work being criticized.
Don't volunteer if you can't handle criticism, guys, you know? Just take Yandev as your shining example of how to take criticism. Oh boy, we're gonna get into that in a little bit.
Okay, now that I've given you the bad news, it's time to give you some good news. I actually was able to find the time to add one new thing to the game over the past 2 weeks.
Oh, really?
I thought it would be cool to allow the player to cosplay as a character.
Yandere Dev, Yandere Dev! Why do you keep adding silly Easter eggs to the game if your time is so limited?
Yeah, Yandere Dev, why do you keep just adding stupid, useless bullshit to your game instead of working on the main gameplay loop while complaining that emails are keeping you from doing that?
Okay, look. I'm not asking for pity. I just want you to understand something.
You are asking for pity, though.
Because I work on the game for 12 hours a day without taking days off.
I work for 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, but I haven't written a single line of code in 2 weeks. Because I went to LA for 4 days and then had to answer emails for 9 days. Again, my time management is shit, but you're on a whole other level, bro.
I haven't watched an anime in months, and I barely have any time to play video games anymore.
Guys, I haven't watched a harem anime in months. I'm getting the shakes.
I don't put silly Easter eggs into the game because I think they're a high priority. I put them into the game because I'm trying to have fun while I work on this project.
Oh yeah, he's absolutely fucking lying. He is completely full of shit here.
It only takes me 30 seconds to add them anyway.
How? How would it take you only 30 seconds to add, like, a mode where, Yan-chan turns into sand and you shoot laser beams or something? That takes more than 30 fucking seconds, bro. Like, you just kept adding stupid bullshit like that instead of working on the actual gameplay loop. That's all you needed to do. You just need to work on the actual gameplay loop, and then you can add all the silly fun stuff.
Where was I? Oh yeah, the good news.
Yandere Dev, Yandere Dev. Why don't you just take a vacation?
I don't think that taking a vacation is an option for me. If I'm unavailable for just 4 days, it means spending the next 9 days answering all of the emails that piled up.
Except you just said there's certain emails you're not gonna answer anymore, and then you just shot down every single other idea to help you with this issue. Like, this is just self-sabotage at this point.
I didn't update the game on July 1st or July 15th. If I take a vacation now, everyone will call me lazy or assume that progress on the game has stopped.
But I can take 2 days to make a fucking 2-part video bitching about all of this. Yeah, I could do that, though.
If I took a vacation, the people who are generously supporting me via Patreon would feel like their money is going to waste.
Yeah, wouldn't it be funny if you wasted their money on a sex doll or something, huh?
Okay, with that out of the way, I can finally...
Yandere Dev, Yandere Dev. It sounds like you don't know how to manage your time or run a project.
Yeah, it really sounds like that. It really definitely sounds like that.
I understand why you would say that.
Do you?
I have no experience being the director, leader, manager, producer, and programmer of a project simultaneously. All I can ask is that you forgive me for my mistakes and have patience with me while I become a better leader.
So guys, how do you feel about that statement now in 2024, 10 years later? How do you feel about that? He's gonna become a great leader and really bring this thing to production, guys.
I forgot how often his green-haired OC cooked him lol.
I know, right? Like, bro, he's acting like that's a terrible thing to say, but it's like completely 100% correct, dude.
I will hand the game to a worthy successor who can make Yandere Simulator reach its full potential.
Except when he partnered with Tiny Build, he got upset that he couldn't understand the code anymore and broke his contract and went back to his spaghetti code. So yeah, he was definitely willing to give it up to a programmer who knows what they're doing.
Yandere Dev, Yandere Dev. Why don't you just...
Stop. Whatever you're about to ask, whatever you're about to suggest, whatever solution you're about to propose, I already hear it 100 times every day, and I've already decided it's a bad idea. Don't even bother.
Okay.
I miss the old days.
And again, that was like a fucking representation of his fan base right there. Like, how fucking disrespectful.
Back when I didn't get dozens of emails every day. Back when I had enough spare time to actually write code for the game.
And yet, you still took time out of your day to make this fucking video, which also takes away from your development time.
Back when I actually had time to watch anime and play video games.
Like, if you just, like, tried to get better at time management, and again, I'm not one to fucking talk, but if you just tried to get better at time management, you can make time for these things.
Well, on a more positive note, I do have some good news to share with you.
Oh, yeah?
During the 9 days that I spent answering emails, I met dozens of extremely talented people who have begun to make some very impressive assets for Yandere Simulator, even though I haven't been writing code.
Well, now the music is peppy, because, like, oh, but I really appreciate you guys after I bitched about you for, like, half an hour. I do appreciate you, totally, I do, though. Don't leave me. I need you to give me free shit to make this game I'm making money off of.
So, although I didn't have time to write code this week, I am still making tremendous progress in other areas of the game. Well, I think that's everything I had to say. Hopefully, soon.
Yandere Dev, Yandere Dev. Why don't you just...
Excuse me for a moment. I need to take care of something.
Yeah, violence against women.
Ah, much better.
Haha, the avatar of my game just brutally murdered my scapegoat of my audience. Haha.
Keep Talkin' sent a super chat. We can also talk about his obsession with Samus.
I think playing that video might scar some people. Keep talking, but it's a 40-second clip. I'm gonna warn you guys, you're about to be scarred for life right now.
Oh my god. Ooh.
I'm already
What
desensitized.
a nice view. Here, honey, come down. Come down and give your lover a kiss. That's a good girl. Where did I put there? Oh god.
Angels Art and Gaming sent a super chat. Money for eye and brain removal surgery.
Is this just a pool for everyone who wants their brain and eyes removed after that? Is this what we're doing? It's a donation fund?
All to count for the lulz sent a super chat. Oh, it can't be that bad, oh dear god, what the F you.
The latency is funny because I'm seeing people in the chat like suffering like long after I've watched the video myself.
Cliff sent a super chat. This is what being a Metroid Other M fan will do to you.
I side-eye anybody who says Metroid Other M was good, and I'm not even a Metroid fan. On to the next video I actually planned to watch. So the emails video was pretty early on. This would have been 3 years into development.
I am blessed to have the assistance of numerous talented volunteers who have generously offered to lend their skills to Yandere Simulator. 90% of the things that you see and hear in Yandere Simulator would never have been possible without the help of those talented people.
Yeah, without the help of a bunch of teenagers making shit for you. Yeah, for free. Well, you rake in the fucking Patreon bucks and spend it on a sex doll. Asshole.
I must perform all of the responsibilities that would normally be performed by about 10 different people if this was a real game company.
So you use your Patreon money to hire people, you fucking controlling dumbass. But he couldn't. He had to be in control of every single aspect of this. That was a big part of his problem. Also, he's a creeper.
Now, please, don't get the wrong idea. I'm not trying to brag and I'm not trying to whine. Dozens of assets are made for Yandere Simulator every month. And all of those assets must pass through a bottleneck the size of one man. Me.
It all needs to pass through one man, and it bottlenecks into phrasing.
Speaking with a team of artists, a team of animators, a team of modelers, a team of composers, a team of voice actors, etc. takes many hours of the day. I quickly realized that I was going to make very little progress on the game's code if I only...
And you know, I was thinking about this before. He didn't really need voice actors. Why didn't you just do it where, like, they just make sounds, and then everything else is just text? You could even do cutscenes that way without any actual vocal dialogue, you know, if you were clever.
So I started working longer and longer hours. Eventually, my life became a non-stop loop of work and sleep.
You know, this is sounding an awful lot like the shit he was saying in his non-apology video, too. So he's been griping about the same goddamn bullshit for 7 fucking years.
Ironically, this is what my life was like 5 years ago when I worked at a video game company. This kind of lifestyle was absolutely unbearable, which is why I decided to quit my job and became an indie developer.
Yeah, that's definitely why you decided to quit your job. I remember he was, like, complaining that he was doing, like, junior modeling shit and wasn't given, like, lead modeling position right away. You know, like, goddamn.
Yandere Simulator has a lifespan. The game is only alive for as long as people are interested in it. If people lose interest in the game, it's dead. If I release frequent updates, people will remain interested in the game.
You know what keep people interested? In finishing the gameplay loop and then adding, like, extra bullshit to it. That would keep people interested.
This is why I work on Yandere Simulator 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and don't take any vacations.
Yeah, definitely sitting at your computer for 12 hours a day. You're definitely totally working on it that entire time. I totally believe you.
I'm worried about people losing interest in the game. I'm worried about losing my subscribers. I'm worried about losing my patrons. I'm worried about being called lazy. I'm worried about getting a reputation as a bad game developer.
I'm worried about all these things. We're gonna keep making these fucking 10-minute long videos and taking time out of my day to edit them and upload them onto YouTube to tell you how much I'm not working on the game.
If you ask my friends what my most commonly said words are, they would tell you that I always say, "Sorry, I don't have time. I have to work on Yandere Sim."
You don't have friends, don't lie.
Yandere Simulator will probably not be finished until 2019.
2019, guys. He got that one wrong, didn't he?
I'm going to look back at my late 20s and I'm just going to see a giant hole where nothing happened except for Yandere Simulator. It's really depressing, so I try not to think about it. Even though I devote almost every single hour of my life to Yandere Simulator, I've made 0 code-related progress on Osana over the past 2 weeks.
So yeah, you just told us you're adding stupid bullshit to make it look like you're updating every 2 weeks and you're not working on the core gameplay loop.
I really wish that working on Yandere Sim was as simple as just sitting down and writing code. But that's just not the reality of game development.
It could be, though, if you actually hired people, but you wouldn't do that. So again, this was your own fucking fault.
Even if I spend 12 hours per day focusing all of my attention exclusively on Yandere Sim, I can still wind up with no time to actually write code, because I have dozens of other responsibilities besides just being a programmer.
I had to talk to my volunteers on Skype who said they were busy with their homework, so they couldn't get me that model for another couple of weeks.
In addition, there's also one other problem. When Yandere Simulator was a small project with just a few scripts, compiling the code took less than a second. Now, Yandere Simulator has over 300 scripts, and it takes 30 seconds to compile the code every time.
Bro, I can't code, but even I know it's all of your fucking else-if statements making it take so long to compile. Holy shit, dude.
In short, it now takes a grand total of 60 seconds to check any change I've made to the game's code, when it originally took less than a second. If I want to make 60 changes to the game in a single day...
Were you compiling it every single time you made a change? Why would you do that? That is just so inefficient.
When I'm releasing cool updates, the game is popular and lots of people are contacting me, which results in me not having very much time to write code. But when I haven't done anything cool in a long time, people lose interest in Yandere Sim, and almost nobody contacts me.
And you complain about getting emails, so stop adding bullshit updates and just work on the actual fucking game!
This becomes a cycle of rising and dropping productivity, depending on the game's current amount of popularity. Right now, we're at one of those low points where people are losing interest in the game and losing faith in me, which, ironically, gives me more time to actually write code for the game.
And losing faith in me. He had to throw in that little jab. Like, guys, you're not gonna lose faith in me, are you? You don't want to make me sad, do you, guys? Like, God, this is not a way to professionally conduct yourself.
With an idea
there she
for how to
is!
solve my problems.
Yeah, we're just gonna stand Midori, because he uses her as a punching bag.
And you want to email me about it. Please, don't do that. If the solution seems obvious to you, that means that it's already occurred to me.
Why don't you just read my mind, everybody? Just read my mind and know you don't need to send me an email about this. Why can't you just operate like a hive mind, my fan base? Like, again, this is part of the locale gene, I swear to God.
Please, just wait for my next video, where I will explain the upsides and downsides of the most obvious solutions.
Dude, people sending you emails might not even know about your videos in your YouTube channel. You can't just think all of your fans have seen everything you fucking do. I don't understand this mentality. It drives me crazy. Here's part 2 of that video.
In my previous video, I explained that the biggest problem slowing down the game's development is the fact that I have many more responsibilities than just writing code for the game. In this video, I'll discuss a few of the potential solutions for the...
And instead of, like, doing any of your work, you made this fucking video instead, you know? Like, come on, man. Like, every single time it's like, well, I spent, like, a week making a video about how I'm not working and why that's a problem, so... Like, you're just your own worst enemy.
The problem. I have no problem managing a team of people, and I enjoy programming.
You clearly do! You were just bitching about it in part 1! What are you talking about?
But there simply aren't enough hours in the day to manage a team of people and make significant progress with the game's code.
And that's when you should have hired a programmer to do it for you, you dumb motherfucker, and you would have had this game done already, and you could have had clout, instead of being remembered as that creepy gooner who failed to make a video game.
The solution would be to hire someone to take my place as the game's lead programmer, so that I can focus exclusively on being a director/producer/manager, while someone else writes all the code. However, there is something very important stopping me from pursuing this course of action. When it comes to programming, I'm good at some things, like rapid prototyping or adding new features to a pre-existing system. But I'm not so good at designing modular systems, creating state machines, or writing character AI.
We know, bro. We know you can't write character AI because everything you write is if-else statements.
To put it in simple terms, I have specialties, but I don't specialize in most of the stuff that Yandere Simulator needs the most. But if a more experienced programmer had been in charge of writing Yandere Simulator's code, they probably would have done a bunch of things way differently.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened with Tiny Build. A dude came in, improved all your code, you got mad you couldn't understand it anymore, and instead of just working with the programmer and telling him what you wanted, you broke your contract, and then went back to, like, just struggling to make it on your own. I do not understand you.
With more time, I could develop my skills, gain new knowledge, and eventually evolve into the master programmer that Yandere Simulator deserves.
Oh, that's ironic, isn't it?
But that would probably take a while, and I don't think you guys want to wait that long. If I hire an experienced veteran programmer with experience in the Unity game engine to take my place on Yandere Simulator, he's not going to want to work with my code and pick up from where I left off. He's going to want to rebuild many of the game's most important systems so that the game has a proper foundation. We should also port the game from Unity 4 to Unity 5 and port the scripts from JavaScript to C#.
You wrote it in JavaScript?! Oh god, that explains so much!
Because the game would be unplayable while it's being taken apart and put back together again.
Wouldn't be unplayable. You just don't just let people play the last version while you convert everything. What? He invents these problems for himself.
That is why, before launching a crowdfunding campaign, I want to release an impressive demo so that people know exactly what type of game they're going to get and feel safe pledging their money to the project. The builds that are available right now are just sandbox test builds for debug purposes.
The thing is, though, people loved playing around in that sandbox. They loved just running around, fucking around with it. And if he had focused on that aspect, the game could have also been successful. But instead, he wanted to make it so there's very specific ways to kill each rival and to stop you from, like, being creative, while saying he wants it to be like Hitman. Like, it just shooting himself in the foot constantly. I mean, I know he's a creeper, and I know he was always incompetent, and I know he's a weirdo, but this game had so much potential that this just drives me up the fucking wall.
We do have the option of deviating from this plan. I could forget about Osana, launch the crowdfunding campaign immediately, assemble a team, begin refactoring the game's code as soon as possible, and then release Osana after the refactoring was complete.
Yeah, and you could have had her 6 months later instead of 6 years later. Dumbass. Like, again, he states like a very sensible plan and then shoots it down for the most asinine reasons.
But I'm not sure if you guys would really want this. I'm going to describe a few other possible solutions, and then I'll ask you guys to vote on the best one. Another possibility is to stop relying on donations and volunteers and work together with a game company to complete Yandere Simulator.
Yeah, like when you got approached by Tiny Build and you fucked it all up.
They've proposed deals that involve me giving up 50% of the game's profits, or losing ownership of the game's intellectual property, or removing certain features.
Yeah, the game's intellectual property, which is all built from other people, and Unity assets you purchased that are not your intellectual property. These are the assets he bought off the store. He didn't make these. He altered them slightly. Like, even like, her. Raibadu, just in there as is. Barely changed anything. So anybody can go to these stores and buy these characters and use them for whatever the fuck they want. They don't belong to him. And he kept saying these were going to be temporary, but then he makes merch of the characters. I just don't get it.
Presently, Yandere Simulator is my full-time job. I get paid to work on it. As long as I'm getting paid to work on it, I feel obligated to pour every second of my life into it.
Except you don't even, though. So at this point, he was getting $5,179 a month on Patreon. This motherfucker was getting, like, a full-time paycheck a month to sit around and jerk off and stream video games and not work.
As long as I'm getting paid for my time, it's perfectly fair for people to complain if I don't make timely progress on the game. But what if I wasn't getting paid to work on it? What if I closed my Patreon completely, Then I could downgrade Yandere Sim from a full-time job to just a hobby. I would have no obligation to work on it for any longer than I feel like working on it. I would finally be able to play video games and watch anime again.
Getting $5,000 a month on Patreon, and he's like, maybe I should just close it. This is too much work, you guys. I totally work on the game 12 hours a day. Those 6 hours of that is just answering emails, and the other one's talking to the people who give me shit for free. I don't know why I'm doing this voice for him now, but this is his voice now.
Nobody could call me lazy anymore. All of my
They definitely would still call you lazy, though, because you are.
problems would be solved. But all of my fans would hate me, I would fade from memory, and all of the work I've done over the past 3 years would be for nothing.
Well, don't worry, Alex. You are definitely going to live in infamy for a long, long time, so GG.
But maybe it's only a very vocal minority that is actually mad about it.
It's just a vocal minority that thinks I'm lazy and not doing work and avoiding actually getting this shit done while I collect thousands of dollars a month.
There exist 2 types of fans. The fans who don't mind how fast I work, don't mind if I work on Osana or work on other things, and don't mind if I take vacations. The other type of fan would take development speed very seriously, would prefer that I focus my attention exclusively on Osana, and would be displeased if I announced a vacation. I'll call them the chill fans and the heated fans. If you've been following the development of Yandere Simulator for a long time, you know how I handle these situations.
You know how I handle these situations. Poorly.
Please vote on the poll in the video description so that I can find out if the majority of Yandere Simulator's fanbase is of the chill variety or the heated variety.
Are you chill? Or are you just an angry, stupid person? You know, pick one, guys. God, he really was just manipulating children, wasn't he?
I could stick to the original plan, which is to wrap up Osana, make the game as presentable as possible, launch a crowdfunding campaign, use the money to assemble a team of professionals, find someone who could replace me as the game's lead programmer, port the game to Unity 5, port the scripts to C#, and rebuild all of the systems that I didn't build properly, which would take at least 6 months.
So, completely sensible plan right here. Completely 100% sensible plan that probably would have seen the fucking game finished within 2 years.
You would probably stop receiving new playable builds for at least half a year, since the game would be getting a complete overhaul and would be unplayable until the overhaul was complete. But at least you'd have Osana. Or, I could launch the crowdfunding campaign immediately. I wouldn't spend any further time on Osana, which means that you wouldn't get to have Osana until after the game had been overhauled.
Plot twist, you didn't get Osana until 2021, and this was 2017!
Or I could begin working together with a company to bring Yandere Simulator to you as soon as possible. Depending on the type of agreement that I reach with this company, I may lose 50% of the profits I was going to make, I may have to share ownership of Yandere Simulator, and I may have to sacrifice some of the game's more controversial features. But at least you'd get the game faster.
Well, he really wanted to keep the panty shots in, guys. You really had to keep the panty shots in.
Or I could just say, sorry everyone, I need to take my life back, and downgrade Yandere Simulator to a hobby.
I need to take my life back, people giving me $5,000 a month.
Thank you for following the development of Yandere Simulator.
And our girl Midori? No more Midori, but she was in the thumbnail, you asshole. This one, he started to get really creepy with this one. Remember how I said every single time he comes up with a new idea, he just has to make a video about it or find a way to implement it right away. This was one of his more questionable ideas, and you will see why as this video goes on.
There's no guarantee that the feature I'm about to describe will actually make it into the game.
But you had to make a whole fucking video about it, and we're gonna find out why, because we're gonna find out why he really likes this idea. Well, yeah.
This idea will only get into the game if a lot of people really want me to add it.
Guys, he's like sweating like I came up with a really good new feature to the game, guys, that I really want to do, but I want to make sure you think it's okay.
This is where my idea for a new feature begins. If the player can do a massive favor for one of the delinquents, He will owe Yandere-chan a debt that he cannot possibly repay. Yandere-chan will be able to meet the delinquent's older brother, a man who was involved with organized crime, drug trafficking, organ trafficking, human trafficking. Yandere-chan would meet him in an alley. He would provide everything that is too outlandish for InfoChan to be able to acquire. He would expect to be paid for his services. Paid with a special form of currency. Fresh, human bodies. Yandere-chan would meet up with the Yakuza and hand over the victim.
So yes, he is talking about having an option in the game where you can drug and kidnap teenage girls and give them to a human trafficker. You know, in what was supposed to just be the funny meme anime Yandere game.
In exchange for enough bodies, the Yakuza would...
How excited do you think he was to get this artwork, guys? Yeah, they're gonna harvest her organs. Sure, Alex.
Perhaps she would be smuggled to an Eastern European country where she would meet a very morbid fate.
Staring directly into the camera like The Office right now. Wouldn't it be super cool if you could sell teenage girls off to become sex slaves in Eastern Europe? Wouldn't that be a cool feature for my game, guys? It's just an idea, guys. I'm totally not gooning to this, guys. I totally didn't have my artist draw this for my goon folder.
The most you would see is a text message confirming that the deed is
Doggy
done.
Cliff sent a super chat. He refilled the chalice after seeing that art.
I disavow.
Yo guys, I just thought of an awesome gameplay mechanic. So let's say you're looking at Osana and we're like, I sure wish she was human trafficked.
I know, right? Like, this is like, again, why this should have just stayed a fucking meme game. There's a simple meme game where you have anime tropes you're making fun of, like, for God's sakes. And you know, even the kidnapping method was already questionable. You could kidnap girls and take them to Yan-chan's basement, which is weird because Japanese houses don't usually have basements. And she would torture them until they become like comatose and catatonic, and will just stab anyone you tell them to. So that was already a bit of a gooner red flag right there. But this just cinched it.
I just couldn't resist making a video about the subject.
I couldn't resist wasting development time to make this video about an idea I might not even implement. He just couldn't resist making this video and having his fucking artist draw this shit for him. He just really wanted to talk about this idea of selling off teenage girls to human traffickers, guys. It's just not weird.
I'll put a poll in the video description so you can tell me whether or not you approve of this idea.
Let's see if this poll is still here. I'm gonna say I hate it. I hate this idea. 1,374 votes saying I love it. Even after seeing a gagged and bound crying teenage girl being carted off into a windowless van by 3 men. What a world. I promised you guys we would watch his Cuphead freak out after those two, so. Trigger warning for very enraged sounding screaming, by the way. Alright, yeah, doing good. Yeah, I would never play Cuphead because I'm bad at bullet hells. I wouldn't react like that, though. This definitely sounds like a man who is mentally stable. That's, like, legitimately kind of scary.